Welcome back to the Joe Mobley Show. I'm Joe Mobley, your host, the original uncloseted conservative. Guys, we're super glad that you're here. We've got an awesome show for you tonight with all of the ridiculousness. If ever you feel like you need to take an aspirin or like have a little like glass of something when you're just about to get pounded with idiocracy and stupidity and just lies for an hour, then this is the night for it. This show is the night for that. And frankly, tomorrow morning's show as well, because that there's so much nonsense and lies and double speak and double think happening at the DNC. It's going to take 2 shows at least to go over it. Guys, we don't even have time. We don't have time for an intro. It's just Outspoken Samantha's here. Samantha, how are you doing, my friend?
Good. I took some aspirin before jumping on tonight.
I probably should have. Should have.
Just to prepare for the headache that is about to happen in all areas of my brain. So I have been watching some of these clips, and I had to take a break for my own mental health and just to go about my day and just assume that the world is not as crazy and delusional as it seems like it is.
This DNC, just watching it, thinking about it, it feels like a tension headache. Like it just feels like you want to like massage your forehead. So I don't know. I feel it coming on. I'm not even kidding. Like that's probably this type of content is just probably not healthy for you. But hey, someone has to do it. We do it so you don't have to. Listener, viewer out there, we suffer and look at all this nonsense. And watch their terrible Netflix movies. Even though I thought whatever was called Get Out or The World Dies or whatever, I didn't think it was as bad as some people thought it was. It was just, the chief complaint was that it was boring. Nothing happened. I was shocked when it ended. I was like, wait, what?
Yeah. You're talking about the movie with Julia Roberts and the one that we reviewed, and to this day, I can't remember. I can never remember the name of it.
It was like Gone Tomorrow or The World Is... I know it's not The World Is Not Enough. That's a James Bond movie. It was like Tomorrow Gone. What is that movie called?
I don't think I have ever had this much trouble remembering the title of a movie ever in my entire life. I mean, I remember movies from when I was a kid that I watched and could remember. What was it called?
Leave the World Behind.
There we go. And we're probably still not going to remember next time we reference it.
No, not a clue. So what do you think? Do you think they put a white character or a black character on the cover?
Of
Leave the World Behind's little promos.
I was gonna say this is my white privilege is showing. I was like, were there any black people in it? I was like, half the cast. Sorry, guys.
That's good. That's pretty good. I mean,
the only person I remember was Julia Roberts. Like, there's no other. I mean, and it's not because she's white. It's just the movie was just so unimpressive. And there we go. Ethan Hawke. I was trying to remember. Yeah.
Honestly, the black dude on the left, I think he's I can't remember his name ever. But here it is. No, wait, is it? Oh, geez. Is this his name or is this the chick's name? It looks like. Now, I know that saying names wrong is apparently a hate crime. Please don't burn my house down and like kill my children for this. But it looks like Mahershala Ali.
That sounds right.
Sure. Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. And the next time we talk about this movie, we're going to remember just as much about it.
Thank you, Shane. Thank you. Everyone knows more about pop culture than we do. That's why I don't really have a pop culture show. This chick has a pop culture show. I just wanted to put this up here because this is the thought that keeps going. I don't know when this came out, but while I'm watching the DNC, and I've watched hours of it, this is the dialogue that's constantly running in my mind.
So I am not at the DNC right now because of straight up safety issues. I do not feel safe around these people. And like, let's be real, we see the way they target and treat Republicans. Also, it's in Chicago. So don't get me started there. But I think it's really funny. They have checkpoints, they have barriers, they have built walls, they have security. And I'm like, oh, it's so interesting. So you refuse to secure our border and wall, and anyone who wants to build a wall, remember, walls are racist, but they have no problem building it around their convention. So I find that really funny. Same people that want to defund the police and abolish them, that's interesting. All of a sudden, they have all these policy changes overnight. Also, I thought Chicago was a gun-free zone, so why would you even need police? Don't gun-free zones work? The gun laws work, right? So why would you need those? Also, just at the end of the day, think about how insane this is. All of this is to protect them from their own voters.
Everything she said is the entire DNC in a nutshell, minus like 2 points.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I'm not going to assume that you watched my latest video as I was talking about the DNC, but I was talking about the things going on outside of the DNC before it even started. They've got women out there dressed up as abortion pills. They've got people out there screaming, saving.
There was a woman dressed as an abortion pill. What does that even look like?
Oh my gosh. There was I think 4 or 5 women that were marching down the street dressed up as abortion pills.
Oh my Lanta.
I don't know how you missed that. But of course, we've got the pro-Palestine, pro-Hamas protesters. We've got the LGBTQ groups out there, and somehow they've come together. But I was watching a guy, his name is Bo, that's his name on Twitter, and he did a video where he kind of jumped into the middle of this crowd talking to them. And he's like, one thing basically that they all have in common is that they hate Kamala Harris. Like they hate their own leader. They don't want these people in office. They're fighting with each other. They hate each other. And it's just total mayhem. And it's like, these people are like this because of the people that are inside the DNC getting on stage right now.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
I've not seen your latest video, but I'm intrigued by this one. It just popped up in my For You for your channel. This is an A+ thumbnail, by the way. Can women handle the truth? And it's got Charlie Kirk text bubble that says birth control is bad.
Yeah.
I can't wait to watch this. I'm
No,
gonna
that
watch
one was
this.
from a while ago, but and I have to
It's 4
fix the
months
thumbnail.
ago.
I need to fix the thumbnail. I was experimenting with some AI, making it more like cartoonish almost to make it stand out more. But then I'm like, everybody's faces look weird. So, but it's still the same when I put it back to normal, just without everybody looking like a cartoon.
Here's just a question, just creator to creator. Do you expect for essentially lefties, independents fine, but lefties to find or ever watch your content?
I don't expect it, but I know it happens because the comments that they leave are very well informed and intelligent.
I would leave it then, because the weird looking faces, I feel like that is like a siren song to them.
Yeah,
They
I know.
see something that looks like, oh, it's like a human, but a little freakish looking. I want to watch it.
Exactly. I can relate. These are my people. Yeah, I don't know. I'm always messing with my thumbnails and like I want my art to look like. Nothing is ever consistent on my channel, so I never know what I'm going to get. But yeah, I do get some leftists. I get some trolls. It's a good time.
So we're going to get into the actual clips that you all can watch, folks. But again, I mean, my poor son, whenever he's in his room, because I've just been ranting and raving in here, like middle of the workday, like watching clips, and I'll be like typing up an email, and then I'll be like, are you freaking serious? Like I'll start listening to the clip, and I'm like, we're in the upside down. Everything is backwards. And I saw this tweet from Charlie Kirk, I think yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah, it said August 21st.
Yeah, this is so true. Genuinely convinced that the DNC just told the speakers to flip every truth completely on its head and see if people will buy it. If you listen to the Democrats of the DNC, they're saying we're tough on border, we're tough on crime, they're defenders of medical freedom. These are all things that have been said from the DNC stage. They're pro small business. That everything that they do is so that you can have a safe and secure America and medical freedom, choice, and for your small business to thrive, not big business, not Walmart and Target. And they're also pro farmer, pro guns. Amazingly, this has come up from the DNC stage. They're pro-capitalism. They are actually communists, but they're saying that they're pro-capitalism. At least every other, but probably every woman speaker has said that they are against failing up. They are totally for meritocracy, and they're not DEI hires or speakers or anything like that. It's not because they're black. It's not because they're gay. It's not because they're women. They're fully into meritocracy now.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I missed this one. It says they're even against killing babies. Personally, I missed that one. Maybe I took an hour off. But this is the DNC. And the DNC Mind Hive people are just doing this. They're saying, yep, we believe it all. Last month, the economy was great. Biden was president and the economy is great. And today, the economy is terrible and Kamala needs to fix it.
Yep.
This is the DNC. And this is what you need to bring to your family, your colleagues, or whoever's in your circle when you're having these little conversations. I wore a Kamala one-star do not recommend shirt into a black barber shop. What is today? Thursday? On Tuesday. And boy, did we have some conversations. I made a little video. They didn't want me to film inside the barbershop, but I made a video on my way in. And I knew what it was going to be. I pulled up into the parking lot. If there are black people listening, you'll know this. I pulled into the parking lot. All of the vehicles in the parking lot were just completely blacked out. Black cars, black rims, black tint. I'm like, there's black people in here. These are my people. I can tell. Until I walked in there with that anti-Kamala Harris shirt. It was great. And my barber was like, come on, Joe. I love you, Dave. I love you, Mr. Dave.
Did they agree with you or no?
Oh, no.
Oh my
but
gosh.
I told you what, I beat them over the head with facts for like 90 minutes in there. I mean, two people just bowed out. They were just like, you got it, big dog. They didn't get angry and storm out. They were just like, I'm just going to sit down and shut up.
Yeah.
Because this guy clearly knows what he's talking about. I was pulling out Kamala's policies. I was pulling out her record. I was pulling out the 33 laws that you're talking about. The vice president doesn't have any power. 33 laws landed on President Biden's desk because Kamala Harris said they would, because she cast the tie-breaking vote in the Congress, because that's how this government works.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It was wild. It was such a good time. Do you go to the black barber shop to get your hair done? Or
Oh, it's been a while, but I've been meaning to get back. So are you reading comments?
I'm reading this. I'm a lefty. Well, I'm a 90s liberal. That they don't call that liberal anymore. I think you would call yourself a post something liberal. Yeah, essentially, if you don't believe in actively, we're on YouTube, can't say that. See, the Thursday night show is so problematic. It's the only time I have to self-censor. If you don't believe in actively promoting permanent lifestyle change for children, then you are not a modern day Democrat. You're just not. And you need to be a 10 out of 10 on that point. Not 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10. And if you don't believe in abortion up to, and in some places after the moment of birth, then you're not down with the squad. I guess we can center right in 2024. It's so wild, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and that's, generally why I most of the time use the word leftist and not Democrat, even though I think liberal kind of falls into the leftist category, but there are still a lot of people that would call themselves Democrats that are not a part of this like extreme insane, delusional group right now. So they're the people that we can still have conversations with, and we can still, civilly disagree on issues with. But that's a whole different group.
Isn't it amazing? Like, this is real life.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
and they don't see it as problematic that their immediate instinct is to respond to opposition by either screaming, yelling, or storming out, or all of the above, and then throwing in like threats of violence. It's like, you don't think that that's a problem with the way that you've been taught to approach issues, is that you can't even listen to somebody that might have a different viewpoint?
Oh yeah, they act like children. Even
Yeah.
the best among them, the most skilled. I've been listening to a bunch of Destiny debates because someone introduced him as one of the world's best liberal debaters, and I was like, this is just false. This is just false. I'm certainly not world's best, caliber, but world's best debaters. You're looking at people like Ben Shapiro. You're looking at people like Jordan Peterson, and the left has got some really talented debaters. Destiny's not one of them. Anyway, and he's supposed to be the best they have to offer, and any given day, he storms out of a debate, yelling, screaming, steam coming out of his ears. I'm like, if you're right, if your position is right, and you are being denigrated to this behavior, it's a clue. There's something wrong with your position. Ben Shapiro's been beaten. He's been proven wrong. He's had to change his opinions mid-debate several times. I've seen all the clips. He's never gotten pissed off and stormed out. Charlie Kirk's never flipped tables. Trent, none of these people. Who's the abortion guy? Seth Gruber? Yeah, anyway. So that's exciting.
Yeah.
Speaking of exciting, you ready to watch everyone's favorite first lady?
As ready as I ever am when it comes to Michelle Obama.
I will say, I believe that Michelle Obama is a woman. Now, the left can't tell me what a woman is, but whatever a woman is, I believe, bulge or no bulge, I believe that Michelle Obama is a woman.
I have to kind of go along with that. Like, I know everybody has their theories on this, and for whatever reason this has taken off, I have never seen anything that would convince me otherwise. So I am not, shaming anybody who believes that she might have male history. I just personally don't buy it, but I could be wrong.
I don't buy it because of the lack of high school evidence. High schoolers are vicious. So if this were true, there would be people all over social media being like, I went to high school with a girl, and, pictures and stuff. I mean, look at Christy Blasey Ford and all. She made up all that stuff. That was like high school hate. Like high school is, gosh, high school's the worst. I was popular in high school, and I still think it was the worst. All right, here's 50 seconds of the next worst thing to high school. And it's muted.
From the affirmative action, we will never benefit from the affirmative action of generational wealth.
Just in case you guys aren't tracking, we're hearing from a former first lady who's worth, or her family, her husband, whatever, is worth some $70 million. So just position your hearts to boohoo appropriately.
If we bankrupt a business or choke in a crisis, we don't get a second, third, or fourth chance. If things don't go our way, we don't have the luxury of whining or cheating others to get further ahead. No. We don't get to change the rules so we always win. If we see a mountain in front of us, we don't expect there to be an escalator waiting to take us to the top. No. We will never.
She's literally describing everything they do. When she says we don't, if we bankrupt a business, we don't get a second chance. I'm sorry. How many businesses went out of business and were bankrupt and were forced to close their doors because of COVID mandates? They had people close their doors and completely have to sacrifice everything that they had worked their lives for because of these policies. And there was no indicator that businesses or that people in Florida were dying at a higher rate because their doors were open over people that lived in California. There was no benefit to these closures, but they closed all of these businesses. But they're talking about not being able to get a second chance. There are people still voting for them. There are people showing up by the thousands to vote for the same people that had no problem taking literally everything from them during the COVID pandemic.
Yeah, everything. It's what Charlie Kirk tweeted. She was like, someone was like, hey, these are the like 5 highlight terrible things that we've done. Just say the opposite. Do you want to read them, or do you want me to rewrite them opposite? Because like we literally changed all of the rules for elections forever for no reason at all. Yep. But say that we don't change the rules. Also, there's all this money that's available to women and minorities and black business owners that's not available to white people. But say the opposite. Just say that white people get all the money, that there are affirmative action laws. Say that we don't benefit from affirmative action, even though there are unconstitutional laws that put prejudicial practices into practice, like everywhere at every major business, where if they're equally qualified, if there's a lesser qualified white applicant and some black lesbian comes in, the job is hers, period. Yeah. Even if she has a ding dong, the job is hers, just so long as she's not Christian or like, married to the mother or father of her children, like that kind of thing. Everything that she said is exactly, what's that movie, Get Out? Like, we are in the upside down. Everything she just said is totally backwards.
It's projection. I mean, when she says that we don't get a second chance, she's talking about Republicans not getting a second chance. When Donald Trump, made a joke about bleach, or what was it? Drinking bleach to cure COVID, or I can't remember what else
it was said. It was hydroxychloroquine, but they said it was what is that stuff called? Like a fish tank cleaner.
Yeah.
I can't think of the word for whatever reason.
Yeah, I can't think of what it was either, but because some random couple, thousands of miles away from him took it to mean that they should drink fish tank cleaner, and I think one of them died, and they got really sick from it. They didn't let him live that down. I mean, they're still railing on comments that he made 20, 30 years ago in a locker room, and they are never going to forgive him for that. So when they talk about not getting a second chance, they have held every single error or mistake that Donald Trump has made, whether as a human being or a politician, or any tweet that they didn't like. They have held everything against him, and they are just determined, that this makes him a terrible person, and he doesn't deserve to have anything in his life, let alone the presidential office. But he needs to be beaten down to the lowest levels as a human being because of all these things. Whereas these guys, they've got our borders open, they close down our businesses, people are dying by the hundreds because of fentanyl poisoning. We've got Venezuelan gangs that are taking over apartment complexes and putting hits out on police officers in different cities, and people are terrified.
What a story. What isn't?
I know.
Isn't that I was reading that the other day.
Yeah, they've got all of these things that are happening where people, their quality of life is so much significantly lower, and all they have to do is get on stage and say the opposite of of everything they've been doing, and they keep getting a second chance. And when you ask people why they get a second chance, they're like, oh, because Kamala Harris brings us joy. It's like, what?
Yeah, I had an idea, and I have all my ideas in the shower, And well, before I get to that, what is this? Nessie NG? You're 1,000% right. This is the Hunger Games in real life, and we are in the Capitol with all of the blue-haired, crazy outfit-wearing freaks. But anyway, I was in the shower, and for better or for worse, thinking about the Harris Walls campaign, because I apparently am a glutton for punishment, and I still can't believe, what are we, 71 days? Like, we are this close to the election, and there's still nothing on their freaking website. There's I've said it so many times, just copy and paste the Democratic National Committee agenda. Just copy and paste it. Just the bullet points. You don't even have to have substance. There's nothing on their website. And I was thinking about Michael Knowles, another person who I often think about in the shower. It's very my shower life is very weird. But anyway, there's like quotes all over the place. And ow, my guitar presser is down here. Anyway, I thought, oh man, somebody's got to make another empty book that says like Kamala Harris, Tim Walz policy agenda, and it's just an empty book, like Reasons to Vote for Liberals by Knowles. And I mean, if I had the ability to do it, I would. I don't think that I do. I don't know. Maybe I'll Google that. But it's on a shower note, so I won't forget it.
Yeah, but the thing is, you don't need to make that book, because when you ask her supporters what their favorite thing about Kamala Harris is, what she's accomplished, her achievements, what they're looking forward to as far as their policies, none of them can name anything. They know it, and they don't care. You could hand them this book and say, this is a list of everything that she has done. This is a list of everything that she promises to do when she's in office. And it could be completely blank. And they'd be like, yeah, but she brings joy. Yeah, but she's a Black woman. I mean, yeah, we're going to be part of this moment in history. It's like the last time we had a historical moment with Obama. I mean, things went downhill pretty fast. We're already like spiraling downhill because of this woman and the administration that she is in. And you guys are like, let's keep going. Let's just keep spiraling downward. This is awesome.
100% true. Guys, get ready to clip this, okay? Clip this next sentence, send it to whomever. I will give $100 to anyone who will have a conversation, not even a debate, just a 10-minute conversation with me about why they support Kamala Harris and Tim Walz without mentioning Donald Trump. If they say Trump one time, they can talk about his policies, they can talk about laws that he passed, judges that he got appointed or that he appointed. They can talk all things Trump, but if they can last 10 minutes in a conversation about supporting the Democrat vision for America and why we should get on board, I will give them $100. Anyone, if I have the free time in the day, you can pick the time. But no one in the barbershop, no one that I've ever spoken with can articulate why we should vote for Kamala unless they're straight up G about it and they're like, because she's a Black woman, which that's probably not even true, but because she's a woman of color. Which is racist. If that's your reasoning for doing anything is the color of someone's skin or the thing between their legs, then you're either a racist or a bigot. And I don't know. I mean, to get you to admit that, it might be worth my $100. But yeah.
Yeah, but the thing is, they don't care. They don't care that they are admitting that they are voting for somebody based on their skin color and based on their gender. Like all of the things.
Wild.
Yeah, all of the things that we have like fought against, that America stands against, that we want to overcome those things. We want people to be in positions based on what they have earned, based on their talent, their skill, their effort. None of that matters.
Yeah, exactly what you're pointing out is the complete removal of the civil rights leaders and their sacrifice, many of them with their lives. It's just removing that from history, saying we know better. Woke, everyone's got to be woke. Stay woke, get more woke. Woke Black Americans, woke white Americans, and the white liberal women are the worst. White liberal women accost me, a 6'1", I'm usually about 225. I'm a little heavier now, but a 6'1" Black guy. Like I don't look dangerous, but I don't look like someone that you want to get into a fight with. And the fact that The fact that little white liberal women will accost me. One of them hit me with a car door one time. And it's just like, I could crush the life out of you with my bare hands. But she had TDS hardcore. Trump derangement syndrome is so real. Out here in Loudoun, like, I see it every day. It's wild. People have told me, forget Joe Biden, people have told me, not just you're not black, but like you're self-hating, you're a disgrace. And I'm just like, wait, can I get that on tape? Can I get you, can I get a recording of you, white woman, telling a black guy that he's a disgrace? I think society would love to see that.
Yeah.
Oh man, I don't even know which one to choose next. The one that I think frightens me the most, I will save till the end. We'll give shout out to this guy. This guy was being accosted. There's a longer video where these pro-Palestine idiots are pulling. I keep zooming in. I forget that I can just hit full screen. Yeah, they pulled this flag. Reportedly, this guy's a veteran. He's got the authentic OG dog tags on. People who haven't served don't even know about these dog tags with the oblong rectangle like that. This dude's got some hella allergies. Anyway, he got his flag back, and they asked him why you were out here, and this is what he had to say.
There's a lot of Palestinian flags behind us. Talk to us about why you're here.
Well, I'm here to represent the American people, our nation. We have black and white communities that are struggling. We have veterans. We have women and children on the street. We're not hearing any protests about that, but we're...
Black and white communities that are struggling. The left can only ever talk about the plight of black people, but there are more white people on welfare. I love this guy.
Saying a big uproar for Palestine. We've got a lot of kids in here who are, of my age, 23, a little bit younger, a little bit older. We've got a generation that's facing an economic crisis, a mental health crisis. Let's talk about what's going on in our beautiful nation and how we can make it better again, how we can make black and white communities better again. I'm out here in support of what these people are doing. They're raising flags that are not of this nation, and that's a no-go for me. It's a no-go.
I like this dude.
Yeah. No, and he is a brave soul walking through there with that American flag, which is really, really sad and very, very telling. But I mean, when he's talking about when he's talking about both black and white communities struggling, I mean, this is something that people are talking about constantly, that they can't afford the cost of living, that they can't afford groceries. And we still have these Democrats getting on stage pretending to be the party of the working class, pretending to care about minorities, pretending to care about the underdog. Yet all of these people that are saying, okay, we're struggling, we need something to give here, they're being completely ignored. And not only that, they're admitting to their plans to make things worse. So excuse me if I don't believe you when you say that you care about everyday people of any color.
I'm not gonna lie, as a fellow Carlton, myself, when I first listened to this guy, I was like, this guy's like a 60-year-old white man trapped in a 23-year-old black man's body. I had that thought, guilty, but yeah, big brass ones though, because people are crazy out here. You can only do this during the daytime. This guy should not be there at night under any circumstances.
Right. Must be all that hope and joy that Kamala is bringing to people.
Oh yeah, it's an absolute love fest out there. Absolute love fest. So here's a question. Looking at Tim Walz, looking at him come strutting out like he always does, are they trying to just make him, I guess it's the reverse of personification, because he actually is a person. Is this the idea of the bumbling, idiotic dad or useless man that's in every TV show, but even the worst in adult cartoons? I watched adult cartoons a long time ago. I just recommend that you get off that particular brand of bread and circus. But is it, now I'm not going to say what I think Charlie Kirk said, that I don't think that this is a white minstrel show, but I thought, that does make sense that they would choose him, because he's like an old, probably wealthy white dude. Mm-hmm. Maybe they just picked him to be the bumbler. At least he's ambulatory. I don't want to get flagged for the music, but I'm not sharing. Oh. But is he just kind of ho-hums around and
It's so over the top. I mean, it's almost I can't decide if this is worse than Kamala's insincere laughing that she just like busts out for no reason constantly, and people were like, I can tell that you're just trying to do this to seem lighthearted and relatable, but it's really annoying. This is kind of that version of that. I mean, I just truly think that, despite this campaign of joy and happiness, these are things that come so unnaturally to these people that they have to like act out what they think normal people think joy and happiness are.
So speaking of joy and happiness, can we talk about the fact that they're like snipping people's balls and committing abortions and commit's the right word and you can substitute abortion for murder. They're committing abortions and they're neutering dudes like in a Wienermobile in exchange for hot dogs at the DNC. No one thinks that is weird.
That's a punchline. They should. I mean, speaking of weird, it's astonishing. And I mean, they were railing against J.D. Vance just a couple of weeks ago for calling out the Democrats for being the anti-family party. Yet they're out there putting women on almost this conveyor belt for abortions and men for vasectomies. It's like, can you get any more anti-family than that? Like literally offering like to keep you from procreating as some kind of party favor. Like that's how depraved this is.
What is their weird obsession with food? Because like if you got the science experiment in 2020, 2021, they were giving out glazed donuts, they were giving out like bacon burgers, and I love meat, I'll take a burger anytime, but like a hot dog is like bottom of the barrel. Like who is enticed by a hot dog?
Especially to get like a medical procedure. When they were having people take the scientific jab in 2021, they were like, here's a Krispy Kreme.
Yeah. Was the light on? Like, was it a fresh Krispy Kreme? Yes, Nessie and G. The Oscar Mayer Wienermobile was indeed there. And Oscar Mayer Wieners aren't even... I mean, if it was like Nathan's Franks or something like that, or if they were in New York and it was like Dirty Dogs...
Then you might consider it.
No.
I might be swayed by that. It depends on the quality.
But honestly, I'm going to be using this in debate for decades now, because we get into these conversations about the value of a human life if you get someone to realize that the thing inside the uterus is and always was and can only be a human life. Once we get there and we start having a values conversation, about not a values like morality, a values like worth conversation about what a human life is worth, you guys threw away human lives for hot dogs.
Mm-hmm.
The cheapest of food known to man. No nutritional value. Like, it's damning. I'm going to be using your stupid little Wienermobile for decades.
No, it's absolutely true. I mean, it just shows where the priorities lie and where the morals lie. It's like you are willing to sacrifice a human life for a hot dog. That is where we're at. Or sacrifice your ability to have your own children for a hot dog. It is absolutely baffling to me. And I mean, this and many other arguments just blows my mind when the left tries to come back and pretend that they care about Trump's shady past as far as, his marital affairs or whatever else. It's like, I can agree that there are things that are immoral. I separate the person from the policy for the most part, but don't come at me and pretend that you have like any moral boundaries at all. Like, you just have no room to talk whatsoever.
I'm pinning a new comment. What would we need to give you to get your balls snipped? Let me know in the chat on Rumble. I'm very curious. All right, so longer clip. It's 2.5 minutes, and I'm going to let you go first on this one because for me, weirdly, strangely, this weird little guy is the scariest thing, is the scariest realization for me of all of the DNC stuff. So it's 2.5 minutes. Just
it's worth it, guys.
We can stop anytime if you want to say something, but you get awesome. you get first shot at this guy. Also, there's no member only Rumble show tonight. It's going to be tomorrow. And Todd Spears is going to be on the show tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. Todd Spears from Graham Allen's Dear America, who just announced that he's got his own show coming out next month on Dear America's network called In the Hot Seat with Todd Spears. Anyway, so if you wake up early, guys, 8 a.m. Eastern is not early, but if you're up early, then check that out. Here we go. Maybe. Hello.
What brought you out here today? No, listen, my name is Noah Shorts. I use he, they pronouns. Like, I'm just really excited that we have like the first black woman that could be the president of the United States. And like my wife, right? We're in a polyamorous relationship. The lover that my wife took is African American, and like I've learned so much about the struggle that people of color go through as a result of my wife's boyfriend. And so I'm excited to really do my part to show solidarity for my marginalized communities. And like the best way to do that is to get the first woman of color to be the commander-in-chief, and I'm really excited. I'm so pumped.
Were you this pumped and excited when Joe Biden was the nominee?
I mean, listen, like I would vote for a corpse over voting for Donald Trump because he's a disgusting fascist, white supremacist pig.
He's honest.
But now, like, we get to really make history. We have, like I said, we have the first woman of color to be president of the United States, and our country, it was founded on the values of diversity, equity, and inclusion. And in Kamala Harris, there's nothing embodies those values more than a Kamala Harris presidency. So I'm pumped, like I'm ready. I am so excited. I'm a proud white dude for Kamala Harris, baby. Let's go! Woo!
Have you seen any excitement at a Democratic event like in this stadium? Or?
No, listen, this is amazing. You can't generate. I couldn't see any more excitement. Like the only way there could be any more excitement is if maybe you had like an artist or a celebrity performing or opening for Kamala, but. No, this is amazing. This is like celebrity level of excitement. This is a rock star. And then, the thing that I'm the happiest about when it comes to Kamala Harris presidency, it's the economy. And, I'm really excited about how she finally wants to put a cap on prices at the grocery store. And, look, even if price controls, may lead to like shortages of food and basic goods, the shortages will lead to rationing, and rationing, that leads to equity, and we need to be a more equitable place in America to dismantle our legacy of white supremacy. So thank you so much for hearing my voice and so many voices like me.
I love it. And I can't remember what this guy's name is, but from what I understand, he was completely trolling this event. The crazy thing is you cannot tell the difference between the trolls
nailed it
and the actual serious voters, because everything he is saying is exactly what the left says.
Yes.
They're just talking about the most superficial things about her being black and her being a woman and making this moment in history and her joy and all. Not one word about policy, not one word, about anything that has to do with any substance. He's just out there spewing everything that he has been told to say, and it sounds completely insane, But the guy that's interviewing him, from what I know, he has no idea that this is a troll. And
neither does anyone else.
Yeah.
We recognize him as a troll. The chat recognizes him as a troll because we're not morons. But you can put him in the room with any leftist in the United States, and guess what? He's not crazy. He's normal.
Yep, absolutely. And this interviewer just keeps going and asking him questions like he's in the middle of, his career-making moment, interviewing these people and asking them in-depth questions, and everything he's saying is completely insane. But to them, they're like, yeah, get it, buddy. White dudes for Kamala. That's a totally normal thing to say. It is...
Nessie NG, you're right. We are normal, and let's just be at... We're normal. We're normal, like, center, right of center people. This is normal for a Democrat.
Mm-hmm.
This idea that rationing leads to equity. Bernie Sanders was campaigning on this 10 years ago. This is totally mainstream normal to them. Bread lines are good. This rich heritage of racism, and now equity needs to come in, and we need to treat that injustice with this injustice. Everything that this obvious troll, obvious only to those who have eyes to see and ears to hear, everything that he said is championed by the left. AOC would sign off on all of that. The Palestine idiots outside, the queers for Palestine, they would sign off on everything he said, including letting his wife get railed by a black dude. They're all about it. Destiny's ex-wife, because surprise, when you let your wife get railed by a bunch of dudes, she catches feelings for one of them and leaves you. It doesn't matter how good you are in bed, what you look like, how much money you have. Destiny supposedly has all of those things. And she was like, I'm out.
Yeah, I actually didn't know that about Destiny. I don't pay that much attention to him, but I mean, you can tell it's not something that you have to learn the hard way. When you embrace all of these disastrous ideas, all you're going to end up with is disaster. And it's absolutely mind-boggling that he can talk about equity in this, in terms of food rationing, and people are like, yeah, that's totally fine. That sounds great. It's like, you realize that we're all going to starve, right? This isn't a matter of them rationing out food so that we all have a 7-course meal or even enough to feed our families. We're talking about an equitable level of poverty and starvation for everyone. And they're all like, yeah, that sounds like a common sense policy. That's exactly what America needs.
They don't realize we're going to starve because they think that they're impossibly nuanced and they're coming up with new ideas instead of the failed ideas of the turn of the 20th century that killed some 60 million people. They're going to be completely surprised. I can't believe this didn't work. I can't believe giving the government this kind of totalitarian authority over the means of production and over food and over land. I can't believe this didn't work. And it's like, idiots, this has already been tried, and it failed more spectacularly and faster than any of the other ideas failed. This one failed the fastest. A literal authoritarian is better. A literal monarch is better than these failed ideas. And philosophers of old all agreed it's better to be, not Aquinas. I think it was... I think it was either totally different. I know, guys, I'm sorry. It was either Marcus Aurelius or Aristotle. I know that they are like worlds apart. One of them said it's better to live under a righteous king. It's better to live under the rule of a good king than a corrupt, essentially a corrupt committee, a senatory body of idiots like we have now. Because all they do is just destroy stuff. They make the government bigger, and the power creep only moves in one direction, and it's better to just have a good king.
Yeah,
which was the idea, and Adam and Eve screwed that up, and God was like, oh guys, you don't want a king, trust me. You can't even listen to, I'm perfect and you can't even listen to me. What are you going to do with an imperfect human? Are you kidding? And then we had tribal leaders and priests, and then we had judges, and then God was like, all right, I'll give you over to your stupidity. Here are your kings. And it reads like quite the reality TV tale.
Yeah.
First and Second Kings, First and Second Samuel. It's a doozy. Judges is also a doozy, and here we are living it out again with the abortion and all the weird sex stuff. And not sex stuff in hiding, but on the high places. They do all the weird sex stuff, like on TV and in public, and little island boys, I'll say. So it's a fun ride. I'm just weirdly glad to be here to witness it all and see where we end up.
Well, and I mean, so many thoughts, but the thing is, like, when we talk to people about what they should be voting on, what they should be supporting, we're like, do your own research. You've got to dig into these things. But when it comes to this particular election, it's not like you have to go out of your way to do a ton of research. Like, go to the grocery store and see how high the prices are. Go out into the street and see how many people are laying around, particularly if you live in a Democrat city, poisoned by drugs and fentanyl. Like, you can go anywhere and hit a bad Democrat policy with a rock. And, you know, so like I said, it's not like you actually have to dig to see the results of their belief system, the results of their policies, and exactly what it is that they want for us. They have used so many pretty and fluffy sounding talking points to get into power, and everything they have done has diminished our quality of life. So why would you think that anything that they're saying now are, one, things that they plan to do at least to benefit us, or two, is even remotely truthful? Like, they've shown us exactly who they are. They've shown us exactly the kind of lifestyle that they want for us, and they're going to plunge us all into poverty and danger and chaos. And then when we come to them and say, hey, I need your help, they're going to ignore us, because that's what they do. All of these people that are living in the middle of sanctuary cities and crying for help because things are no longer safe and all of their resources are going to them, all of these people voted because they wanted this idea of helping the underdog and helping these people in impoverished countries. And now that their communities and cities are completely taken over, they're looking to the same people that they voted for, and their cries for help are being completely ignored.
Yep. They tell us exactly who they are because they actually believe in, we recognize them as stupid ideas, but they actually believe these ideas can work. They're new, or you know, magic pills that we can take to fix everything. So they tell us the stupid things. You shouldn't be able to be more than 15 minutes by car from your house. Everyone should be, you can do all of your living within 15 minutes of your house. Now, clearly, they've never been in flyover country. When I was in an actual town in the Army in Oklahoma, and I couldn't get to work in under 15 minutes. My house and the actual base in the same town, within the town's borders, it was like 26-ish minutes. You just can't live that way. They want you to, Tim Pool says it all the time, they want you to eat the bugs and live in the pods and stay within 15 minutes of your house and own nothing and be happy. And they're telling you this out loud. Breadlines are good out loud because they actually believe it. They have convictions. They're going for the things that they think are good. And we're the cowards that sit around complaining on the internet and whispering to each other at work because we can't bear to have someone know what we actually think, what our actual beliefs are. It's not going to work, folks.
Nope, absolutely not. Well, and just kind of, this has been on my mind actually for quite a while now, but it just resonates. So I don't know if you saw the documentary that was about October 7th, and I think it was named after the film festival, I believe. I watched it. It was on Twitter. It was about an hour long. But it was really from the perspective of the people that were at that film festival, and, you know, a lot of their recordings, their personal experiences, seeing the paratroopers coming down from the sky, seeing things being launched over the rocket or over the wall. And it really struck me that all of these kids were in the middle of this festival, just having a good time. The things started coming over the wall. They saw the paratroopers coming down, and they thought to just get out their phones and record it. Like, nobody was scared because they had been through these drills before. They were so used to living in the middle of this danger that they didn't run, that they had just been so conditioned to believe that this was normal that it wasn't alarming to them. And it wasn't until they were in the middle of like this absolute chaos and mayhem that they realized their mistake and that they really were in danger. And then it was too late for so many of them. And that just really stood out to me, because that's what I feel like is happening with the Democrat Party and their voters right now, and people that are still falling for this. And I understand, there are differences to that situation. They had to go through these drills throughout their life to prepare for them. But still, just being so conditioned, being so used to being in the middle of danger that you don't even recognize it anymore until you're right in the middle of the chaos, and suddenly it's too late. You can't get away from it anymore. And you don't recognize what it looks like when it's coming at you.
Yeah, I've not seen it, but I've seen some of that footage, and it just makes me... It doesn't make me sick, it makes me sad, because people have divorced the reality of the real world with real danger from the reality of the internet, which is just content. And people sacrifice everything for content. And it's including putting themselves in harm's way. When there's an active shooter here in the States, most people freak the heck out, as they should, running around. What they really should do is pull out their guns and put them down, but they're not prepared. And even, Bible thumping, super right wing conservatives, I see you guys all out there, and I'll do a pocket check, and I'll be like, okay, well, what gear do you have on you? How useful are you in an emergency right now? And it could be tourniquets and pressure dressings. It could be you're freaking Rambo and you got 5 guns and a freaking katana. But sadly, most of the time, no one's got nothing. Everyone's, oh, well, I got a safe full of guns, and we've got freeze-dried food at home. And I'm like, so if it goes down right now, you think that you're just getting home to all of your stuff? You don't have any tools, any things, any skills with you to get from where you are? Like, I have to go to work occasionally in DC, and I have to go and work in these different large cities in Northern Virginia. Anyway, we don't need to go down that rabbit hole. But yeah, something's got to change, folks. It's up to us.
Yeah.
And it's real sad what's going on in Israel. It's real sad what's going on with Russia, Ukraine. But the real Greek tragedy is happening right here at home, with veteran crisis, with suicide crisis, with the fentanyl crisis, with the border. Everything American has the word crisis after it. If you don't know, the debt crisis, it's bad. Like, you can put crisis after anything American.
Yeah, the education crisis, the birth rate crisis. I mean, literally everything is crisis. So it cracks me up. I mean, it doesn't crack me up because it's really astonishing. But when Kamala Harris gets up there and says, I'm going to fix inflation, I'm going to lower grocery prices, I'm going to, secure the border, we know what it takes to fix the border. And it's like, okay, but you're in office right now. And first of all, that means you're admitting that grocery prices are high. You're admitting that things are not safe. You're admitting that things are crappy. Whose fault is that? Who's in office, Kamala?
Trump's. No, it's Trump's fault.
I know. It always is, even though the man has spent like 4 years total in politics. But apparently, all of this is his fault.
I'm going to try and make this video. I bet I can. I've occasionally disguised myself as a liberal. I bet I can convince one of these woke white Loudonites that World War II is actually Trump's fault. I bet I could convince at least 1 or 2 people of that. Obviously impossible.
Is it though?
But I bet, I bet I could.
They believe men can get pregnant. Anything is possible.
Oh man. Well, it's 9:37. I'm proud of us because we actually got through. I didn't believe that we would get through all of those clips, and we actually did. Yeah. I only included one of Michelle. There were like 6 juicy clips of Michelle Obama.
Well, there are so many to choose from. I mean, and it really is mind-boggling. If people want to go and search them, that's fine, but just understand that everything that these people are saying at the DNC is total projection. I mean, they're pretending, as Joe pointed out in the initial tweet by Charlie Kirk, they're pretending that they're in favor of all of the things that Republicans have been trying to get done, that they have intentionally stood in the way of, that they have made known that they are trying to actually destroy our country by ignoring all of these things. But they're getting up there and saying that suddenly they're in favor of these things and freedom and liberty and, whatever else they want to pretend to be in favor of, while there are literally their followers out front burning the American flag. So that's pretty much what you're going to get listening to any of these things. It's not one speck of truth in them.
I guess there's not a speck of truth in me either. I totally lied. We don't need to watch this clip, but how laughable is this? This guy, who apparently is real, not a plant, as sheriff of a border town, is saying, this is Sheriff Javier Salazar, says that Donald Trump is not for border security. When he comes down to Texas, he stands down next to officers in uniforms like mine. He's not there to help us. Kamala Harris is here to help us. Kamala Harris has never been to the border, dude. She's been fighting border crime for years. Nope, that's not true. She's never fought border crime. She did fight a lot of crime, and primarily locking up black dudes because of crimes that they committed. Okay, so internet warriors don't be like, oh, she was just locking up black dudes. No, those dudes stole. Those dudes did domestic battery. They did drugs. They sold drugs. They should have gone to jail. They shouldn't have stayed in jail for slave labor so they could get the roads paved and the grass cut and stuff like that. That's wild that this black or Indian or whatever woman intern these guys. It's crazy, but as literal, hey, you've paid your debt to society. You committed a crime. You got this amount of time in jail. I'm going to keep you for convenience to do hard labor. It's wild. It's wild that that's who we want in office.
She literally enslaved them.
Yeah, black Americans in the 21st century. It's wild. Only America's laughed.
Yeah. How much do you think they paid this guy?
I have no idea. I mean, he's got a big old hat. This guy's definitely all hat, no cattle. But I have to believe that there were law enforcement officers all over the United States that laughed until their stomachs hurt when they watched this. Maybe a few of them probably peed a little. This was the funniest. This was the most laughable thing that I heard.
Well, yeah, and he guaranteed he is not going to be able to show his face in his Texas town ever again. I mean, I hope he's planning to relocate and change his name and start identifying as a woman or something, because
no need.
That's going to be his only saving grace. That doesn't fly in Texas.
Actually, you know exactly what's going to happen to him. I hate to break it to you, sweetheart. He is a constitutional officer right now, and he's going to be laughed and disgraced out of that job, and he's going to fail up, and he's going to become the police chief appointed for life of one of Texas's major cities like Dallas or Houston. This guy is going to be the police chief of Houston. Actually,
Probably.
Where's this county? Let me see. What is it? Bexar
County? I have no idea.
Texas. San Antonio. San Antonio is not super woke, but let's see. Yeah, it's how long does it take to get from, because he probably lives right in the middle. Let's see here. Well, here, I'll actually, I won't do that, because then one of you creeps will try and come to my house. I'm a friendly dude.
Just come to my house.
Yeah, I'm a friendly dude. Just don't show up, uninvited and all that jazz. Oh, right. Yeah, they're an hour and a half apart. This guy, he probably lives right in the middle. He probably lives in San Marcos. They're going to be like, Joe's doxing this guy. I don't know this guy. But yeah, it looks like there's 90 minutes from Austin to San Antonio, and he probably lives right in the middle there. So probably 45 minutes from Austin. He's going to be, mark my words, folks, this guy's going to be one of the next two police chiefs of Austin, and he'll ride that freaking pony. Canyon Lake. What is this? Oh, this looks
just
like
don't
some
know
army
how
BS.
these people can sleep at night. I don't know how they can look at themselves in the mirror. I don't get it. And this is sociopathic behavior. It's just, I bet they paid him in hot dogs. He's like, sure, I'll lie about the border for a hot dog.
Can I still get the free vasectomy? Sorry, go ahead.
Exactly. I think that is one of the most baffling things to me is I don't know how these people sleep at night. And Kamala Harris is bad enough, but when you have Tim Walz on stage jumping around like a lunatic, like he's Richard Simmons, bouncing around like he's just won the lottery, just the happiest time of his life, knowing that just a few years ago, like his entire city was practically burned to the ground, where people's businesses were literally turned to ash because of all of this race fueling and, these riots, and because they refused to stop them, knowing that he allowed that to happen to good and innocent people on a diabolical level, and then to get up on stage and parade across the stage like he plans to make your life better. I mean, sociopath. You have got to be a sociopath. You've got to be devoid of all human emotion or a soul or anything like that.
I agree. Well,
and this sheriff falls into that category, by the way.
100%. 100%. Here, we'll get one last look at this guy. This guy is a clown. This guy is a total clown.
Yep.
He should have just had a little bozo nose on there. I do want to say before I had to take a year off, which sucked. But before that, the most concurrent viewership that I had was 213, and we have 113 concurrent viewers right now. So that's a pretty rocking accomplishment. It's been less than I don't know how long have we been back? Well, you never stopped, but anyway, it hasn't been a year. Anyway, so that's great. And it makes me, it reminds me to let you guys know to subscribe wherever you're listening, and you've got a smartphone, open it up and subscribe to the podcast, rate and review the podcast. And where's that other thing? Join, become a member. It's $5 a month. You get a mug, you get a shirt, you get content that's not suitable for the rest of the internet. And the website is thejoemobleyshow.com/join is where you can do that. I feel better than I thought I would at the end of the show. I don't need anything to drink, or I might need the aspirin. But yeah, maybe I'll get a hot dog. Eh?
Oh my gosh. I will
Do you
never
got
eat
anything for these lovely people? We just lost one. All 112 of them.
Yeah, be sure to go to my channels both on Rumble and YouTube to subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram, all under Outspoken Samantha. I comment on these things fairly frequently. I try to create content, and YouTube and not Rumble, not so much, but YouTube and Twitter seems to be kind of suppressing my content a little bit, but they would all like to pretend that I'm not talking about these things. So I need you guys to actually go find me and subscribe. That would be fantastic.
Yes, do it. Like all the things, subscribe. It's literally free. It's when people say it's the least I can do, it's literally the least you can do. So thanks for being here. Thanks everyone in the chat for your saucy comments. And hey, don't worry about not recognizing that guy was a troll. No one in half of the country recognizes it either. There's just like that guy from The Bachelor who is now clearly pretending to be a transgender. I always get this wrong. He's a man. He's pretending to be a transgender woman then? Or is that backwards?
Who?
The Bachelor guy. They're going to make me retake the training.
He is a man pretending to be a woman. I'm 100% convinced he is trolling.
Yeah, yeah. But they're going to make me take the training again. I know it. But does that mean he's a trans woman?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Cool.
It's not confusing at all.
It's so natural. Are you kidding? Pronouns are so natural. It just rolls off the tongue. Oh, man. You got to laugh to keep from crying. That's all we got for you, fine people. We'll see you next Thursday at 8:30. Bye.